The Happy Afloat podcast, tales of family adventures at sea.
Hello and welcome. I am Jason, skipper of Happy Afloat. Meet my happy crew. Leon.
Hello.
Conrad.
Ahoy there, shipmate.
And my lovely wife, Sarah.
Hello. If you are new to the podcast, then welcome.
But don't start here.
This is part 11 of our summer adventure.
If you want to follow this sailing adventure from the beginning,
hit the rewind button and start at episode 13.
Which is part 1 of the story.
For old hands, grab a pew.
And we'll begin.
In this episode,
we start exploring the Outer Hebrides.
More tales from our summer adventure.
Okay, where had we got to?
We had spent a very quiet and restful night anchored in Canna harbour.
And it was now time to move on.
Who's ready to go to Vatersay? Morning.
And it's the 12th.
Right, leg 12. To the Outer Hebrides.
While the anchor was being raised, I decided to give Gaelic a go.
On a previous visit to Vatersay, I got chatting to some locals.
Who were conversing in a foreign language.
Which turned out to be Gaelic.
And I was informed that it was still widely spoken on the islands.
So I decided to try and teach myself some Gaelic using the Duolingo app.
Dad?
Yes.
You don't say Vatersay, it's Vatersay.
So V is pronounced as a B, is it?
This is the pronunciation.
Oh, but is BH pronounced as a V? So unless you can speak Gaelic, we'll never know. Well, you've got 8 hours to learn Gaelic, so or less. So crack on.
I don't have it on the internet.
If you look in the Outer Hebrides book that we've got down in the pilot guide, and also the CA Almanac in the Outer Hebrides section, it may have a whole section on Gaelic words and what they mean.
I should have got to get. Do you know what? In Smiths they have books on Gaelic, and I thought, should I get one? Gaelic glossary, page 164.
May the whale watching commence.
Learning Gaelic, man.
Have you? What have you learned?
Mel?
Mel? What's that mean?
Single beat.
Okay.
Fear?
Go on, what's that mean?
We would be crossing the Sea of the Hebrides, a passage of about 40 nautical miles.
And we hoped that this would be prime whale spotting country.
When you are desperate to see a whale, you imagine fins in every wave.
And you imagine everything is attached to a whale.
Not very big though, is it? Or maybe it's not meant to whale, maybe it's a little
I thought it was a dolphin. I thought we had more of a hooky fin. Minky.
It had a very good hook.
Did it?
Yes, I'll quickly pull up the minky before I confirm it. Yeah, it was a minky. Look, do you think it was an adult?
It didn't seem to be that big.
Didn't look that big.
What do you say, juvenile?
Well, let's wait until we see it again.
This is what a minke whale looks like in comparison to the average
Where's
human.
Minky whale?
Don't
Maybe
think it
just
was.
a harbour porpoise.
Or maybe
It was-
long.
it was too-
Maybe a pilot whale.
I think it was a dolphin.
Could be a pilot whale.
The thing was too far back.
It definitely wasn't a harbour porpoise. Oh yeah, it's a whale. I think.
Minky whale, do you reckon?
That's a minky.
Big though, is it?
It's not. I'm still thinking it's a dolphin. It's a bit big for a dolphin. Do you want the fins? Probably about in line with that white boat, that sailboat. It does look longer than a dolphin though. It's kind of slower than a dolphin, isn't it?
Bottlenose is the only one with...
I think it's a bottom.
Oh, well, Mum doesn't get the chocolates.
That's what I said to start with, that it was dolphin, because I'm sure that a minky looks more hooky.
It's bigger as well. That's not very
Yeah.
big at all. What size have we got for bottlenose? Yeah, we'll go for bottlenose for Mum. Only one.
Right, look, it's a bottlenose.
We didn't see any whales.
And we were still wondering where most of the aquatic wildlife had gone for a summer holiday.
If only the wind could be a bit more energetic.
And saved our engine from using up more of our precious fuel.
But it wasn't to be, and we had a very uneventful crossing.
With intermittent levels of wind, no wind, and just the right amount of wind.
You get the picture.
7 hours later, we got all excited as we approached Vatersay Bay.
A beautiful white sandy beach.
With sand dunes and crystal clear turquoise waters.
It looks like a tropical paradise.
Upon arrival, it was pretty quiet with just 3 boats in the anchorage.
It was plenty warm enough to be in just our shorts and t-shirts.
We promptly went ashore in the dinghy.
And merrily jumped out of the dinghy in water up to our knees.
Just to get the full-on experience of warm seawater at last.
We had a quick walk along the beach.
And played in the sand dunes.
Whilst watching the anchorage fill up with boats.
It was the busiest we had ever seen. 12 boats.
Okay, so what do we know about Vatersay?
Vatersay is the southerly most inhabited island in the Outer Hebrides.
And the start of the Hebridean Way.
Which is a cycling and walking route across the Hebridean Islands.
Vatersay is linked to the island of Barra and the ferry terminal by a causeway built in 1990.
Do you know the reason why the government finally agreed to build the causeway?
No, I haven't got a clue.
Boys?
I'm guessing it's probably because it was the most inhabited island. There's so many people there.
No, it's because Bernie died. He drowned.
Who's Bernie?
Bernie was a prize bull. The only way to get the cattle off of Vatersay was for them to swim across to Barra.
Where did you learn this?
Public opinion got behind the building of the causeway, and the government finally decided to build it after Bernie the prize bull died.
Is that an actual truth or is that a myth?
It's the actual truth.
Wow, that's quite impressive.
Is this the actual truth? Don't look it up.
You can look it up.
The combination of a beautiful beach and the Hebridean Way made Vatersay Bay very popular with YouTubers.
There was a sailing channel anchored next to us.
Van life channels videoing in the car park.
And wild campers videoing in the dunes.
And various individuals running up and down the beach with an obedient drone following along.
What do you reckon? All YouTubers, or is it now natural for everyone to do a piece to camera when shooting videos?
I'm reckoning it's just natural that when people are recording videos, they then tell the camera exactly what they're doing as if it's the YouTube.
That's because you're the YouTube generation. It never used to be a thing.
Because everyone's an aspiring YouTuber.
Maybe everyone's an aspiring YouTuber.
Maybe, but we're not.
That's because you've got to face radio.
Really? What's that meant to mean? Hang on.
Look it up.
Again, our Plan A and Plan B for mobile phone coverage had failed. There was no reception with either O2 or Vodafone.
So we had to enjoy being uncontactable for a while.
Freedom!
An uncivilized internet-free zone.
The Dark Ages. Barbaric.
During the night, we heard a demonic sound.
A sort of howling, bellowing noise coming from the shore.
We were glad to be at anchor.
Hopefully the beast of the bay couldn't swim.
And if it could swim, hopefully the tasty wild campers in the dunes would slow the prowling beast down.
The beach looked quiet the next morning.
No half-eaten human remains.
So, we decided to risk a trip ashore for a circular walk of the southern half of Vatersay.
Having dinghied ourselves ashore, we headed west to the Atlantic side of the island.
The source of the noise became obvious.
As taking a morning stroll along the beach,
Were coos!
lots of coos.
And more excitingly,
Coos with calves.
Coolets?
We successfully navigated our way with a healthy level of fear past the curious cows.
And onwards and upwards, literally, we continued our hike.
We hiked up to a cracking viewpoint over the Atlantic coast.
where there were the remains of an old dwelling.
And then back down through wild green lands to a big sandy beach.
Struggling to locate the diminishing footpath signposts,
We plodded on in the heat.
Yes, it does get hot in Scotland.
Ending our land-based jolly.
With well-earned ice creams and cake.
at the local community hall cafe.
Back on board, we needed a weather forecast.
But we had no mobile phone reception.
So we did it the old-fashioned way.
With a combination of VHF,
And nav text.
The forecast was southwesterly, force 5 to 6, perfect for blowing us downwind to our next destination.
This was also the furthest west we went on our summer adventure.
Now we would be heading in the northeasterly direction.
But that is a story for another time.
We love feedback.
If you are enjoying the podcast, share the love and write a review.
And don't forget to rate us in your favourite podcast app.
why not consider giving us a like on our Facebook page?
All the links you need are on the website.
happyafloat.com.
Next time aboard Happy Afloat.
We enjoy the magic of the wizard pool.
Until next time, happy sailing.